So, what is Totally Killer about? Was it funny? Was it scary? And was Totally Killer even worth watching at all? All questions will be answered in this video. Alright, so, what is Totally Killer about? There's a lot going on in this one. So, Totally Killer takes place in the year 2023. Makes sense, that's the year it came out. And it's about this girl who lives in this small town. Go figure. And the town is kind of famous for basically one thing, and that's about 3 murders about 35 years ago. But one day, the killer from 35 years ago comes back to get her mother, which her mother were friends with the people who were murdered. And to save her mother and potentially the other victims, she travels back to 1987 by accident, actually, to try to stop the killer and the murders themselves. So that's basically Totally Killer in a nutshell.
No, this is me in a nutshell. Help! I'm in a nutshell! How did I get into this nutshell? Look at the size of this bloody great big nutshell. What sort of shell has a nut like this? I mean, it's just crazy.
And you know what it kind of reminds me of, and in the best way possible, is actually a cross between the Scream franchise and the Back to the Future franchise. Literally in the best way, though. So, on the surface, it kind of looks like just this time travel thing with murder. And that's pretty much what it is, and it does pretty well doing it, honestly. So now that we basically got the plot of the movie down, was Totally Killer funny? Yes. Yes, it absolutely was. It does poke a lot of fun in 1987 coming from a, 2023 pair of eyes. Like, there are a ton of things that are basically not socially acceptable anymore that happen in this movie. Just for a couple of examples, there's like smoking in a car with children. A few accounts of bullying. I know bullying, it will probably never go away. These are pretty obvious ones. And basically no one gave it. What's a couple of other ones? There was a ton of easy access to people's private information. Really quick, a secretary gave the main character information about a different student, didn't ask for any ID, why they needed him, nothing, just plainly given to him. I don't know if this is true because I wasn't born in 1987, so if you know if this was true, just leave it in the comments because I don't freaking know. I would honestly want to know the answer to that question. Was it that easy? And people are just completely oblivious to like the bad things that could happen to them, like offering and taking rides from strangers. Like, no one does that anymore because we all know better now. Back then it was just like, oh, I'll just give you a ride, and people just got in the freaking car. It's not a thing anymore. And it just doesn't poke fun back in the past in the 80s. There would also be some jabs from the other side. People from the 1980s giving the main character crap for things said, well, in modern terms, language, acceptability. You get what I'm saying. I can't think of an example right now, but they went back and forth. It poked fun at both sides. So I really, really enjoyed that, especially if you can make fun of itself. Everything that happens now and in the past, I'm perfectly okay with that. Even playing field, you're good. I did find myself laughing a lot in this movie, and I could see how it could have like a comedy tag in it. And this is probably exactly why it reminds me kind of like Scream, because it pokes fun of itself and horror movies all at the same time.
There's a formula to it. A very simple formula.
So Totally Killer kind of took that perspective as well. So I really, really applaud that. That was great. So yes, Totally Killer is funny, at least in my opinion. Now a big question, is Totally Killer scary? Yeah, it got me a few times actually. And probably many of you don't know me quite yet, but I've seen a lot of horror movies. Action movies, comedy movies, tons of horror movies, that's my favorite. Fantasy, science fiction, I've seen a ton of every genre, but mainly horror. And this one got me a couple of times. It really did. And if you are a fan of the slasher genre, which I am, this has pretty much everything you're looking for in a good slasher movie. I stand by that one. There are a ton of great stalker scenes. There are a ton of great chases. The cinematics in the movie were just great. It was beautifully shot. Even the action scenes were really, really well done. It was scary, It held my attention. A+ on the scary. Another part that kind of kept me entertained for quite a long time, I couldn't predict who the actual killer was until the end of the movie. Like, usually I can probably pick this stuff out within the first 5 to 10 minutes-ish. I can probably get a good grasp on it and then depict what's gonna happen next. This one kept me guessing. No, it was good, had a lot of good twists, had a lot of good turns. The story, beautifully written. Okay, now here is the big question. Is Totally Killer worth even watching? Absolutely. Absolutely. This movie has it all. It has a great script. It was shot beautifully. The actors were fantastic. There was great twists. There was great turns. There was a great amount of comedy. I laughed a lot. Also had some great scares as well. So if you're a fan of a slasher genre, maybe have a couple of laughs in there too, this is a great movie for you. Even if, okay, so let's just go back to that. Let's say you're just a fan of horror movies. Watch the movie. It's great. It gets 5 stars for me. 5 stars. Abso-friggin-lutely. Can't say enough good about this freaking movie. It was great. Literally one of the best new horror movies I've seen in a long time. A very long time. Okay, go watch Totally Killer. And if you had a different opinion than me, tell me all about it. Maybe I missed something. Maybe I miscalculated something. Didn't see something. You know what I mean? Tell me what your experience was with Totally Killer. God, that's a mouthful. And make some suggestions of what I should watch next. Always down for a good movie. All right, everyone. Take care. Have a good night. And see you in the next one. Bye.